Hello, and welcome to Nostalgia Marcana. I'm your host, Doug Leaf. Each episode of this podcast, we'll look back on the movies, TV, games, people, and phenomena that we still love talking about all these years later, and ask ourselves why these bits of pop culture still enchant us today. This week, we'll be revisiting...
There it is. My house. At good old Cleveland Street. How could I ever forget it? And there I am. With that dumb round face and that stupid stocking cap. Oh, but no matter. Christmas was on its way. Lovely, glorious, beautiful Christmas around which the entire kid year revolved.
A podcast on a Christmas story, you'll shoot your ear out. I'm very excited to be talking about this movie because, like, in the pantheon of great Christmas movies, this is always at or near the very top. I think this is a really special movie that delves into not just Christmas, but the feeling of being a kid around Christmas. So this is like laser targeted in terms of like nostalgia for the movie and everyone's nostalgia for the holidays. So glad we're doing this. And we have two returning guests to help us with this project. You most recently heard them as part of our Frodo-vember coverage talking about The Two Towers. Please welcome back our friends from the Media Lit podcast, Randy Allain and Kris Ingersoll. Welcome back, guys.
Thanks for having us, Doug.
Ho, ho, ho. Happy to be here.
So yeah, I'll throw it out to you guys like we always do. I just threw out, hey, is there a Christmas thing you want to cover? Or I think maybe this movie came up either during a prior podcast or at least while we were chatting off mic. So yeah, Kris, I'll throw it to you first. Tell me your nostalgic memories of A Christmas Story and why you wanted to cover it today.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it, right? This is the quintessential nostalgia film. The whole goal of the film is to make you feel like you are a grown-up looking back on your own childhood, right? So it's the kind of film that has been ever present in my life. I don't have that one person or memory attached to watching it because it's just ubiquitous. It's on TV all throughout the season. This watch, in fact, may have been the rare excuse to sit down and intentionally watch this movie end to end for the first time in a long time. It's the kind of movie that usually I catch glimpses of 20 minutes here and 30 minutes there when it's on television once upon a time. But yeah, I remember as a kid, this sort of informed what you should expect from being a kid at Christmas. And I don't know if it's a self-fulfilling prophecy or what, that like, does it accurately depict childhood, or did it tell us all what we should expect from childhood? And then we lived it out, right? But it definitely, yeah, it had that thing as a kid that made you feel like it was true. There was a ton of just like everything they were saying about what it felt like to be a child with parents was true. And now as a grown-up looking back, I find it even more potent. So I'm thrilled to talk more about it.
Yep. Randy, how about you?
Yeah, I am with my buddy Kris here. There is a timelessness to this movie. I think there are a lot of things here. I think, my mother introduced me to this film. I think it was nostalgic for her, despite the fact that it's flashing back to a time before even she was born. But it felt relatable to her. This film came out in 1983. If you had asked me when I was a kid how old this movie was, I think I assumed the movie was about as old as far back it was set, right? Like, it looked old to me. It felt old to me. It felt like it was telling me this very real story out of the past. I had no real sense that there was a nostalgia layer to this thing. And it really kind of works this way. I mean, the only real hints we get at the time period are, like the prevalence of radio versus television is like the number one hint. But other than that, and, probably most people won't know what a damper is if they're living in a modern home with a modern furnace. It all just kind of works. Like the struggles of kids feel the same. They look the same. But I think the other part of the timelessness is I love holiday films. We had the pleasure of chatting The Santa Claus with you a year ago, Doug, which is a movie I love. But almost every Christmas movie starts to bug me at some point in the final act. It gets a little too on the nose, a little bit too cheery. And this movie is raw. There's not an overly sweet moment, right? It's the wild bacchanalia of the holiday season, as adult Ralphie tells us at the beginning, and we really get that from start to finish. So I think telling me a story that's true felt like a nuanced thing, and that is why my sisters and I would watch the 24 hours straight of A Christmas Story. I don't think we ever actually sat there for the full 24 hours, but it was certainly on television for 24 hours straight the day before. We would catch it multiple times, come back for our favorite scenes. And looking back now as an adult and seeing it with new eyes, I just love that there was so much there for a kid, and now there's so much there for a parent and an adult. So I'm excited to dig into both of those with you fellow dads today.
Yeah, and my nostalgic memories of this are slightly warped in that, part of this is, I think, is that one, I'm Jewish, so I wasn't seeking out Christmas movies as intently, certainly when I was growing up and even later. Not that I wouldn't watch them and enjoy them, but it wasn't something I was like, oh man, it's time to sit down and watch this. The other thing is, I'm a little bit older than you guys. I was born in 1980, and this film did not make any kind of a splash when it came out. It was one of those things that, like, because it was getting run on TV over and over around the holidays, people started to discover it and then kind of spread the gospel of it later. So I don't think I even became aware of this movie's existence until I was at least a teenager. I had some friend, I was over at a friend's house and they had it on, or they told me about it or something. And so, I came to it later, but I have a lot of thoughts on this movie, all positive, by the way. I think this is a really special movie. It reminds me a lot of another movie we all covered together, which was The Sandlot. Because just like The Sandlot, one, this basically has no plot to speak of.
Yeah.
The Sandlot has more of a plot than this movie. And two, it's very much, again, just like The Sandlot is, it's about like what it feels like to be a kid, right? That really nails that. But you said something important, which is that this movie doesn't have the kind of schmaltiness and sweetness. Like so many Christmas movies, they end in one of two things. One is, there's not going to be a Christmas this year. Oh, wait. Like, yes, we know there's going to be. Stop doing that. We've seen it. The other one is that, like, it ends in a really hopeful message about, the true meaning of Christmas, right? Brotherhood of man and all those kinds of things. This movie does not. This movie is squarely, and they're like, fuck it. It's about presents. I want those goddamn presents, right? Today has nothing to do with religion or Christ or togetherness. This is the day, like, all the toys I want are drop shipped to me, right? That's what this is really about, which is, I get it. Like, if you're, however old Ralphie's supposed to be, 8 years old? Like, that is what Christmas is to you. It is this, it's this looming thing of like the day I get all the presents, and also these other traditions and things happen around it. But again, none of this movie has nothing to do with religion. They never go to church. They never talk about Jesus. It's the tree, it's the turkey, it's like all of these, the lights, all of these little like other things that are around Christmas. And like the movie doesn't even pretend to give a nod to the like the more lofty parts of the holiday, which I think makes it really interesting. Like it's really more about being a kid, and it's interested in that than it is anything to do with like, it's almost not even a Christmas story. It's a movie set at Christmas more than it is about Christmas,
Yeah, really well observed. I think that that's like not more potently, and I know we'll get into the film in greater detail, but not more potently illustrated than like some of the closing frames. Yeah, it's like the end of the night and it's peaceful, and like, old man and Ma are able to come together by the window and have a moment. But like Ralphie's cuddling his favorite toy. He's cuddling, like the warmth and joy, that schmaltzy moment is him in bed with the present that he really wanted, that he ended up getting. Commercial to the very end.
Which is a rifle.
Yeah.
And by the way, there are ways to tell like what year it is, or at least clues that I noticed. Because I remember I read the Wikipedia article and it said like it's in the late 30s. I'm like, well, they don't explicitly say that. They do show you characters though from The Wizard of Oz, the movie The Wizard of Oz, which tells you, okay, well then it's at least 1939 because it's after that movie existed. But that's all they give you in terms of like actual clues. Yeah, you never see a television, so it's got to be like right in there, like 39 and. maybe 40.
Old man mentions a sports trade. When you first meet him in the movie, he comes into the kitchen, he's reading the paper, and he's griping about a sports trade. I wonder if you could look that up and thereby nail down the exact time frame, or if it's a totally fictionalized happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think, though, that setting this in that time period, not only does it contribute to the timelessness of the movie, but it kind of like, it's good that they kind of wipe away all of the technological advancements that come after that. You're not talking about like, oh man, this World War II is on the rise. Like, they're not talking about that. Like this is the snow globe that is this movie is really just Ralphie, his little universe of friends and family, and the toy he wants. Like, everything else is like kind of happily pushed away. It doesn't need to exist. This is it's a little enclosed sphere of a world.
Wonderful metaphor.
So yeah, any other like kind of opening thoughts on this, like things you want to talk about before we get into like the beat by beat?
No, I mean, I do want to say that I was delighted to find, watching as an adult, that even though it's without its schmaltziness, which I really like that, it isn't without feeling. There are some moments of real feels, things that you can connect to on an emotional level, a human emotional level, which I was really delighted to find. I don't think I've had that experience with this movie in the past. It has always existed as something very slapsticky, like a series of almost SNL sketches. Like, this plot is so disjointed. It's like these kind of series of iconic moments. But I found a much more, potent themes throughout. There's some good father-son stuff in there that I found really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you said that, Kris, because I actually focused even more on the Mother Parker stuff, like in terms of like some of the warmth and humanity in this film. But yeah, I think I already name dropped it once, but that opening line about the bacchanalia of peace on earth and goodwill toward men, that's intentionally disjointed. It's an oxymoron almost, right? But we get that nonstop from start to finish, In the heat of battle, my father wove a tapestry of obscenity. I could feel the Christmas noose beginning to tighten. So like it's always this violent stuff. Even like as they're opening the presents this time around, I was like, oh, a baseball bat, a Zeppelin, a bowling ball. Like, we do get the cute pink bunny costume, of course, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I love that just aggressive sort of coldness, and they're almost fighting back against that to find the humanity.
Yeah, this movie has, I mean, it's very, the authorial like voice here, which is ostensibly it's, Ralphie as an adult narrating. It's pretty prevalent. Like, they narrate a lot of this movie. And it's based on a short story by Gene Shepard called, quote, "In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash," which is a great title for a short story. Not for a movie, but Gene Shepard, along with a couple other people, including the director Bob Clark, are credited on the script. And so I think that the real sharpness of that writing really comes through. Like, there's some really biting turns of phrase. And it feels like a short story. Like you said, you use the word sketch to describe it, Kris. Like, it feels like sketches. And I think you mentioned, right, you've seen, like, you'd commonly watch, like, say 20 minutes of it at a time, like a segment. Oh, here's the bit where he's, handles the bully. Oh, here's the bit where he hands in his theme at school. Right. And I had that same feeling of like, how many times have I actually sat and watched this movie from beginning to end versus like just seeing segments of it, maybe even out of order. There's something very like compartmentalized about the way this thing is put together.
Yeah, it's almost like ironically, as we pointed out, it's like devoid of any like religious iconography or anything attached to the holiday. It's like almost like the Bible in that way. Like, you're familiar with all these sort of like apocryphal stories from within.
Yeah.
Like, oh, a Christmas Story. Yeah, I've seen that. That's the one where like the kid goes to see Santa and there's the slide, right? Like, Santa's kind of scary, goes down the slide. And you might not know where that falls within the larger narrative. You don't know where it belongs, but it's one of those stories within the larger story.
The holiest icons are like not even like the commercialized Christmas tree, right? It's the rifle and it's the leg lamp.
The leg lamp.
Those are the holiest objects in the entire movie. So there you go.
I have to mention this. So, friend of the pod, one of my closest friends, Dan Oster, who's been on many times, he was in a sketch group a long time ago. And one of my favorite things they ever did was I think in like the aughts, Patrick Stewart was going around doing like one-man versions of A Christmas Carol. And so he did a one-man version of A Christmas Story with Patrick Stewart. That was very funny. That might be the funny bit I stick at the end of this episode because it's pretty good. But I had to mention that. Yeah, why don't we get into this? Let's talk about this awesome movie. So we open, with a bunch of bells and Christmassy music, of course. And we get adult Ralphie narrating us in. He says, there it is. There's my house. There I am with my dumb round face and my stupid stocking cap. And he says, Christmas is on its way. And this is like, again, like the entire year, he says, revolves around Christmas. What am I going to get for Christmas this year? And after that, we were transported to the outside of Higbee's department store, where downtown is prepared for its annual Bacchanalia. And we watch as Ralphie and many, many other kids are pressed up against the glass of this department store as he looks at the toy he wants most in the world, a Red Ryder BB gun.
Ah, there it is. The holy grail of Christmas gifts, the Red Ryder 200-shot range model air rifle. And there he is, Red Ryder himself. In his hand was the knurled stock of as coolly deadly looking a piece of weaponry as ever I had laid eyes on. For weeks, I had been scheming to get my mitts on one of these fearsome blue steel beauties. My fevered brain seethed with the effort of trying to come up with the infinitely subtle devices necessary to implant the Red Ryder range model air rifle indelibly into my parents' subconscious.
I love the way the narration opens here. It doesn't quite carry the same energy throughout, but there's a way in which he gives you that first-person perspective. Like the narration throughout the film is very much akin to the narration in a short story, right? The internal monologue of a protagonist in a short story on the page. But the way in which he says, there I am, that's my house, it almost felt a little bit like a view from heaven in a way that it kind of set the tone for this film in a way that I hadn't caught before. Not that I think that's what they're going for, but this very much, the whole thing then for me had this Ghost of Christmas Past veil over it, which kind of helped each time the narrative moved like that next little vignette, that next segment, it all contributed to that feeling that this was like one big trip with the Ghost of Christmas Past to see, yes, one iconic Christmas, but all these different stories from within in a way that it never ends up amounting to anything. It doesn't tell us anything about Ralphie's character or have some moral message at the end, but that is how the opening narration kind of set the table for me in this instance. Like he was looking down on himself. Oh, there I am. Like he's looking at a memory. I thought that was pretty charming.
Yeah, that storytelling element is so strong, Kris, and just everything we've been talking about capturing the commercialized nature of Christmas. One of those great short story moments is the description of the golden tinkling display of mechanized electronic joy. Only a short story can get away with that many adjectives all at once, but it works.
Yeah, and as I watched, I did wonder to myself this time, well, who is he telling this story to? And when? I think that's interesting to think about. I assume his kids or something, but his contempt for his younger self is really right out there, because he says there's my stupid face. What a dumbass I was when I was a kid. He's very down on himself in a way that you can kind of only be about yourself. Of there's this whole movie in a lot of ways, it's a lot of face palm, thinking about your youth, and which I think we can all relate to. So also we got to credit Peter Billingsley here, who plays Ralphie. He's as child actors go, I think he's pretty good, and he's still acting. He's in that scene he's in the MCU actually, that in the first Iron Man movie. If you remember, Jeff Bridges Tony Stark built this in a cave with scraps.
Right, yeah.
That's Peter Billingsley is the guy that Jeff Bridges is yelling at, and they bring him back for which one is it? Spider-Man Far From Home. He's works with Mysterio in that movie, so he's still acting, he's still doing stuff. But yeah, he's fantastic here.
The ultimate baby face.
Oh my gosh. The still frames of him looking at his teacher in those moments at her desk are unbelievable.
Just waiting for that praise to...
Yeah.
Oh, he looks like a Norman Rockwell painting come to life.
Yeah, he really does, man. He really does.
Big Buddy Holly glasses and stuff. Like, like cherubic cheeks. Like,
Yes.
I wrote this down, which is the like ad copy for the gun that's in the store window. It says, quote, "It's all yours, little beaver. This 200 shot range model air rifle is just like the one I used in my range wars chasing rustlers and bad guys." Which is, I like that one, range wars, although that kind of has a kind of a negative connotation as to probably going after Native Americans, but nevertheless,
yes.
Yeah, it's a Western a fictional Western that I think it's fictional that he listens to on the radio. So we get this quick flashback of Ralph trying to think of a way to make his parents buy this for him. And what he ends up doing is he finds this magazine with like an ad for the gun, and he slips it inside a magazine that his mom reads. Which is like, I don't know which of these things ends up. He gets the gun, right? So somehow he succeeds. We don't know exactly what it was he did that got it across. We never find out, which I think is actually kind of neat.
Yeah, because I don't think that his adult perception is that any of those things succeeded. I think he is sort of assuming that he's telling us the story, right? Which means that the things we're seeing, even when he's not narrating, are things that he's telling us, right? The dad. I think that particular look of pride on the father's face suggests that maybe Ralphie's adult understanding is that his dad just had when he was a kid and decided, he knew that's what his son wanted, and for no other, that's why he got it. I don't think it was a manipulation of Ralphie's, but I do love that Ralphie attempts first, like Inception, before Leo ever had the idea. He's gonna incept his mother with this insert into one of her favorite magazines. Absolutely brilliant.
I had the same thought. I was like, was Christopher Nolan getting phone calls when Inception dropped? Like, excuse me, this has been done once before. Yes.
Well, we know that the whatever tricks he tries on his mom definitely doesn't work, because at the end of the movie, when he gets the gun, it seems pretty clear that mom is not aware that dad bought it. So
right. Yeah.
If anything,
she wasn't incepted.
She wasn't incepted. Maybe dad was, but
yeah.
And so we get this scene of that, at the breakfast table. Dad's complaining about those baseball trades, like you mentioned. Ralphie comes down, and Dad wants to know the name of the Lone Ranger's nephew's horse, which all of them seem to know. And he's doing a crossword puzzle with a $50,000 prize, which one is like, think about the inflation on that. Like $50,000 in like 1939. That's got to be an enormous amount of money. And so Ralphie is distracted during this. So like he like lies about seeing a bear. I forget what this bear lie is, but it's weird. Like, it's definitely like, they caught me daydreaming and I have to come up with something quick.
Meanwhile, I struggled for exactly the right BB gun hit. It had to be firm, but subtle.
Flute says he saw some grizzly bears near Pulaski's candy store.
They looked at me as if I had lobsters crawling out of my ears. I could tell I was in imminent danger of overplaying my hand. Casually, I switched tactics.
Hey, Dad. I'll bet you never guess what I got you for Christmas.
A new furnace.
That's a good one, Dad.
My old man was one of the most feared furnace fighters in northern Indiana.
Hurry up, you're going to be late for school.
Yeah, I'm running late already. Round one was over. Parents won. Kids zip. I could feel the Christmas noose beginning to tighten. Maybe what happened next was inevitable.
Ralphie, what would you like for Christmas?
Horrified, I heard myself blurt it out.
I want an official Red Ryder Carbine Action 2-inch range ball air rifle.
Ooh.
No. Shoot your eye out.
Oh, no, it was the classic mother BB gun block. You'll shoot your eye out.
Saw some grizzly bears down by the store. Yep.
So then Mom asks what he wants for Christmas, and he blurts it out. He just says he wants the gun, and is immediately told the repeating line, "No, you'll shoot your eye out." And so He just says he was kidding and really wants Tinker Toys. So
I love his casual energy is unbelievable. Ralphie really, Mom, I was only joking. I just want some Tinker Toys.
Yeah, it's such a coming of age tale, right? Like I'm not a tall man now, but I was a particularly short child. My mother still likes to tease me about my kindergarten picture, like the class photo, where my legs are hanging off the chair in the front row and like they don't reach all the way down to the ground. So it's like it's this coming of age tale. And like there's almost like this unspoken thing, like how do you come of age when you are this baby-faced kid with the dopey little brother? Once again, proving my theory about cinematic Randys being total pains in the ass. Like how do you prove yourself? How do you come of age? No, I just want some safe little Tinker Toys. I don't want to be a different kid than you think I am. There's this question of swearing and language, that rite of passage that gets interrupted. I'd never been asked to help the old man with anything. Like, this is a life-changing moment. Unfortunately, those lug nuts go flying and we're in for some trouble.
One other thing this made me think of is, Ralphie's a terrible liar. He doesn't realize it, right? That he's bad at lying. And this made me think about my own kids very intently, like, because they'll do that from time to time. Like, not that my kids are bad kids or anything, but every once in a while they'll try their hand at like deception. And it's like, was I that bad at this when I was a kid? I must have been. Because you look at this and go like, wow, you really thought I'd buy that, huh? Okay.
Yeah, he thinks he's a master manipulator. He certainly thinks that he is.
Yeah.
Just for everybody's edification, I ran the numbers, and a $50,000 grand prize in, let's assume, 1939 would be equivalent to $1,165,381.29 today.
Yeah, Kris, we're not on Media Lit, but I'll give you my Gatsby drop. My guy Gatsby missed out on just a $20,000 inheritance about 15 years earlier, and that would have been life-changing for him.
Can you imagine? This guy was going to, by way of crossword, it really puts into perspective what he ultimately ends up with as a lamp, but we'll visit that when we get to it.
Oh, yeah. So this gets to one of our first of like many flights of fancy for Ralphie. This is like Muppet Babies level. Like we're constantly going into Ralph's imagination, and he fantasizes about using this gun to, take care of some bad guys who are committing a home invasion against him.
Save us, Ralphie! I just know those bad guys would be coming for us in the end.
Don't worry, Dad. As long as I got old Blue. Well, what have we got here, folks?
Well, we figure he's Black Bart, Ralph.
Well, just me and my trusty old Red Ryder carbine action 200-shot range model air rifle. Lucky I got a compass in the stock. Well, I think I better have a look here.
Oh, he's on.
But it's so filtered through the lens of, pop culture, right? So he's wearing this like Western outfit that's like Roy Rogers meets Liberace. Like it's super glittery and like ridiculous. And then the bad guys are, Monopoly kind of bad guys. They're in like the black stripes and the domino masks and stuff. This is really fun because I think what makes it fun is not just that Ralphie is, having this, this imaginative thing happen. It's the way his family members react during it that really like sells this as very funny.
Yeah, I love the completeness of his imagination, and to your point, there's something so pop culture about it, and something so innocent despite the violence. That's what really stood out to me upon this watch. Like, yeah, I love the silliness of all the get-ups. You know, the burglars are giving me the flashback to the junkyard burglars from The Sandlot.
They're dressed the same. Is the exact same
dressed
outfit.
exact same fit, right? But I love, like, he is violently shooting them as they attempt to flee, right? Yeah. Just the sight of him has sent them running. He's done. He did the job. He saved his family. But he's learned that you got to put him down. So he's opening fire one by one, and each one takes a little shot to the butt.
Yeah, directly in the butt. Yeah,
directly in the butt, right? Like that's what he pictures is happening. But then they still die, and they all wind up with little X's over their eyes, even as they're piled, like live action human beings. But he's still picturing the cartoon X's. It's just so innocent and childlike, juxtaposed with the casual violence.
Yeah.
And that image of them, by the way, the burglars with the X's over their eyes, like they're not just dead; they're like piled.
Like, not where they fell.
Corpses. Yeah.
Yeah. So, warning for the next band of robbers that comes by the homestead, I guess.
Right. And he's spitting dip the whole time.
Yeah.
He just has this image of what it means to be a grown-up cowboy man.
Yeah. If Aunt Kathy had sewn him that cowboy suit, he'd refuse to wear it, or whatever the aunt's name was.
Clara.
Aunt Clara. Yeah.
Yep. So we go back to present day, the imaginative part goes back to reality, and we have this recurring thing happen where the dad is like real distrustful of furnaces, and his is a piece of crap apparently, because it just starts belching smoke into the house that he has to now go down and deal with, and as Ralphie explains, let forth a tapestry of obscenity. And this is as you said, like this is pretty like difficult for modern audiences to get, I guess, if you don't live in a house with one of these, because this is like this old timey thermostat type mechanism, these little like things in the wall you slide back and forth to control it from the upstairs. I had no idea what I was looking at. I assume maybe if you're from the eastern half of the country, you might see a building that's old enough to have one of these. But did you guys know what this was or how it worked?
Yeah, he's like, you're like restricting the airflow or increasing the airflow, which then is going to impact the function of the. So it's like you're physically opening like a vent cover basically within the system. What I loved about this wasn't just the old timey nature of it and the very thick black smoke, which is so hilarious. Yeah. I just loved the cursing from the father, old man. I don't know how it was scripted, but I watched this with captions. I usually do, just to make sure that I'm getting everything as intended. And even the captions will only give you like every third word. Then it just says cursing, stubborn, cursing, fucking trapping, cursing. Brilliantly performed and really a fun little device.
But you do get every dad gum.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you imagine these are all that Ralphie really could glean or retain as he would hear his dad let out this tapestry of curses. He wasn't really grasping any one too closely. He was just a tapestry of.
Yeah, well, as we'll see, like the fact that his dad is kind of foul-mouthed will come up again later. That's kind of important. But since this movie is geared at a younger audience, they can't have him actually saying all of these things. So it's very much the like Yosemite Sam cursing, it's kind of incomprehensible. You can tell what it's meant to be obscenity, but you can't make it out. And by the way, Darren McGavin as the dad is like, he's such an interesting version of a dad because he's pretty prickly. He's not very like warm. And then he gets like, they have him like get really excited over certain things that are like, oh, this is the thing that like lights him up inside, but it's random weird things throughout the movie. They're like, oh, that's what my dad likes. He likes this thing. And it's very hard to relate to in some ways. Like, why does he get so excited about this little stupid thing?
Yeah, he's got like this very limited like view of like how a man can express himself, right? Like what does a man need to look like? And like, but that little kid inside of him becomes alive. The closer we get to those Christmas moments, having a playful conversation about Santa in the store. He knows. He always knows. And we get warmer and warmer the deeper we go. So I love it. It's like Christmas is his free pass to let some of that out. The rest of the time, he's got to be perfect.
Well, and he's a dad. He's a dad that I got to know first as a dad to one Billy Madison. Before I really noted him as a kid in this movie, Billy Madison was a much more present film in my childhood and something I watched all the time. So it was only later that I clocked him as the dad from Billy Madison. And this time around, I noticed that there's a similar warmth underneath that prickliness. In Billy Madison, he has this prickly, rich hotel business mogul, and he's prickly with his employees, but he's soft for his son. And there is a little bit of that's under the surface as you watch this. As terrified of his father as Ralphie is, right, as we all were of our fathers, you can see the softness, which I really enjoy.
Yeah. So now it's time to go off to school, and we get a couple of things. One, poor little brother Randy there is packed into what must be 7 layers of jackets, so much so that he literally can't put his arms down, which is really funny because every time you see him out of doors in the rest of the movie, he's dressed like this. I guess mom doesn't care about Ralphie that much. She doesn't make him dress that way. He can be cold. F him, I guess. But they go off to school and they meet with their friends on their way, and they have this discussion about this, whether or not you can stick your tongue to something that's metal and cold. And they say, "Oh, this guy died licking a railroad track." So then poor Randy falls down and he can't even get himself up because he's so immobilized by his. I think his mom, Ralphie calls it a deep sea diving.
Deep sea diving, yeah.
So they get to school. The kids distribute a bunch of giant fake teeth to each other because they think that's funny. The teacher says, no, and they throw it into a drawer with a bunch of other confiscated contraband, which includes chattering teeth that are still chattering for hours. And then we see the kids standing around a flagpole debating again the tongue question, which they then answer.
You're full of beans and so's your old man. Oh, yeah? Yeah! Says who? Says me. Oh, yeah? Yeah! I double dare you.
The exact exchange and nuance of phrase in this ritual is very important.
Are you kidding? Stick my tongue to that stupid pole? That's dumb. That's because you know where to stick. You're full of it. Oh, yeah? Yeah! Well, I double dog dare you.
Now it was serious. A double dog dare. What else was left but a triple dare you? And finally, the coup de grace of all dares, the sinister triple dog dare.
I triple dog dare you.
Schwartz created a slight breach of etiquette by skipping the triple dare and going right for the throat.
All right. Come on, Karen. Well, go on, smartass, and do it. I'm going.
Flick's spine stiffened, his lips curled in a defiant sneer. There was no going back now.
This is nuts. Duck.
So this is one of those moments I was describing earlier when I was talking about the ways in which this film sort of told me what I should expect from childhood. I think I firmly believe that someday I would be possibly challenged to do this, or I would see somebody else who was. This was the first time I think I was really confronted with the idea of the importance of the dare, the double dare, and God forbid, the triple dog dare. So whether or not that existed in my childhood because we had seen this movie or because it was still such a real thing, I can't quite be sure. But this is definitely where I learned it from.
I remember seeing this and going my impression was could you do that? And then I thought about it, yeah, you probably can. Stick your tongue to something like that. Again, it doesn't get cold enough where I live for that to happen. So it wasn't a danger I was worried about. But there's some body horror here with poor Flick getting his tongue stuck to that pole.
Oh yeah,
the screams are visceral.
That's one of the best things they do in this movie, right? Flick is the first great example of it, but we'll get it from Scut Farkus later. the way these kids flip the switch from posturing to just high-pitched piglet squealing when just that honesty comes out from underneath. I don't know if I can even really think of another movie that does that in such a visceral way, where the little baby under the surface comes right out, and you can't hide it no matter how hard you try. It's really powerful as a kid and also as an adult.
Dude, I'm so glad you said that, because I was struck by the performance of that young actor. Those cries and whimpers and screams are pretty affecting. And actually, you see it on the other kids. They all instantly know they have messed up. They have been witness to a mistake. And like you can see like the fear in them, the fear of like that could happen to them. Like he's going to get hurt and they're all going to get in trouble. All joy sucked out of the moment when they realize his tongue is really actually stuck and the bell rings and they take off. It's not until they're once again kind of safely removed and watching from the window that the smiles and the giggles return to the kids. That it becomes this like kind of safe, funny thing that's happening at first. Yeah, all posturing is just dropped in the face of this very real thing that's happening.
Yeah, and like the helplessness too, where the kids like screaming like "help me," and they're like, "Well, the bell rang, we gotta go." Like we were slaves to that bell. Like when of course the correct thing would be immediately go get help, go do that, but they don't. Like they don't go get. All they know is like we're supposed to go inside when the bell rings, so that's what we do. And it takes them a little while. Like nobody pipes up. Like the teacher basically starts asking, "Where is the kid?" And then finally someone looks out the window and sees him. And that leads to, first responders coming to help them and stuff.
Shout out to the first responders with a great response time on the flagpole.
Yeah, that's some small town response time is what we're seeing there. That is, you see the number of responders who responded? That is a small town response. There wasn't a lot else happening that day. I was pretty, to your point, Doug, that's like what they know is the bell, but also there's like the cowardice of childhood that ultimately you're way more afraid of the trouble you might get in than like the real consequences of not helping your friend. Like something really bad might happen to him if they don't help him, but they don't know that. They do know what will happen if they don't go in when the bell rings. Right. And they do know what will happen if teacher thinks that they had something to do with where he is right now, which is why Ralphie lies when he's asked. No, I don't know where he is.
I believe I have shared this story on Media Lit. I don't think I've shared it on Nostalgia Arcanum. But in kindergarten, I was playing Ninja Turtles with a friend of mine. We were using sticks as swords and weaponry. We were attacking a bush. I don't know. It was Krang or something. I don't know. I don't know what we were doing. In the process of attacking this bush, I scratched the cornea of my friend's eye, and he was in pain. And I was young and scared and immature enough to put a lot of effort into trying to get him not to tell anyone.
Right. So familiar.
It didn't last too long. And, luckily, he had like the eye patch for a few days. He recovered, no lasting damage that I'm aware of. But yeah, I think about that moment often. It was a formative moment for me. And fortunately, realizing how messed up it was that I put myself first, I think influenced my behavior moving forward. But I see it in those kids.
Mm-hmm. You said totally. It's a formative moment for you. It's a supervillain origin story for him.
Yeah, he could still be plotting something. I'm gonna have to watch my back.
Yep. Yeah, I love. So Flick comes in. He's got a mouthful of like gauze over his tongue or something, and he's questioned, but he does not snitch, which is interesting. So the teacher, for a guilt trip, lays a guilt trip, but she eventually assigns a theme, which is 1939 for an essay. And the subject of the essay is what I want for Christmas. And Ralphie starts thinking about how this is going to work out in his favor. And so somehow he's going to turn writing this essay into a concrete Red Ryder BB gun. And they do this interesting thing. So now we're going to get into our conflict with Scott Farkas, who's the local bully. They're on their way home. And one of the interesting touches here is they use the music from Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf. And so they bring in the wolf leitmotif for this encounter with him. They seem to have to go by this spot to and from school. And this redheaded bully with a bunch of braces and his little toady sidekick, Dill, are always there waiting for him. And this kid sucks.
Scott Farkas.
Scott Farkas. What a rotten name. We were trapped. There he stood between us and the alley. Scott Farkas staring out at us with his yellow eyes. He had yellow eyes, so help me God, yellow eyes. Farkas's crummy little toady, mean, rotten, his lips curled over his green teeth. Randy lay there like a slug. It was his only defense.
Say, Uncle! Uncle!
This kid sucks so much. He reminds me of Bugs Meany. I don't know if you guys read any Encyclopedia Brown mysteries, but he reminds me of the illustration of Bugs Meany from those stories. It also was giving me, I don't mean to keep going back here, but it was giving me Sandlot, when the first thing we see are like his feet walking behind sort of that corrugated metal fence that's there that he emerges from. It was giving me those first glimpses of like the beast. You don't want to get too near that fence.
Yeah, he's just an idea, right, that we see taken down by the end of the film. He needs this illusion of a toady. He jumps out of like a dumpster or something. It's hilarious. Or like just like some old boxes or whatever. The way he emerges, it's all, for the show of it all. But, shout out to the performance from Zach Ward as Scott Farkas. This guy's been all over our media lit discussions.
That's right.
He recently reemerged as a teenage asshole bully in 1997's Wild America. And of course, the best friend of one Jack Shephard from Lost in a flashback episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's perfect for this role. Like, they just let him be real mean. And it's not even like, it's not like he's stealing money from them or anything. This is just for the love of the game of being a bully, right? There's no goal other than being an asshole. And so they all manage to eventually get away from him as they'll keep running back and forth from him a lot in this movie. Yeah. And we go home, and Ralphie, is hoping to get some kind of a decoder pin in the mail. He's been sending away for this. It'll happen later in the movie, but it's not there yet. Mm-hmm. But we're just setting that up. And he goes home and he writes his theme, and he reads it, and he's feeling pretty good. And Dad comes home. He's really excited. He thinks he won the crossword puzzle thing. And he chases away the Bumpus hounds, which are like their next door neighbor has 15 of these big dogs that for some reason, like they love the dad. Like they're always just up in his business. And despite the fact that he's never nice to them, they just, for some reason, really just want to just get to dad. The cute element, it won't pay off until way later in the movie, which is nice, but like, it's just a funny element that happens. And it's dinner time. Randy is just playing with his food and he won't eat it. And there's this interesting discussion, like every family, there's a kid who won't eat. Not my family, but anyway.
There was one in mine.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. I can tell you that.
I've got one right now.
I bet.
So is your solution the same as Mom's solution?
I'm keeping that one in my back pocket.
Meatloaf, double beetloaf. I hate meatloaf.
All right, I'll get that kid to eat. Where's my screwdriver and my plumber's helper? I'll open up his mouth and I'll shove it in.
Randy. My mother was more subtle.
How do the little piggies go? That's right. Oink, oink. Now, show me how the piggies eat. This is your trough. Show me how the piggies eat. Be a good boy. Show Mommy how the piggies eat.
Listen, shout out to Mom for understanding like the little weirdsies of her child. Like later he needs his safe space under the sink and the cabinet, and she offers him some grace there. But yeah, like just as a fellow Randy, this is one of the many Randys that makes me ashamed of myself. Can I just list off quickly a few of his sins as just
Please.
making a bad name for all Randys in the world? Because I've got a few. I've got a little list here. Randy being an effing doofus. Face pressed all the way against the glass at the start, more so than the other children. You've got just the laugh is too much. It's tough to listen to. It is piercing. In the scene we're in right now, he is eating with this like humorously oversized spoon with a disgusting spoonful of oatmeal. And this kid is much too old to be wearing a bib, yet there it is. He's still wearing that bib. He can't grow up. I think mom loves her kids equitably. And the reason Randy is this little starfish deep sea scuba diver is this kid cannot get out of his own way. He is a disaster. He cannot take a step forward without special help or attention. Maybe the best line related to Randy in the whole movie is when they encounter Farkas later, and he says, "Randy lay there like a slug." It was his only defense, which is incredible. But in his defense, he does rescue Ralphie's glasses later on, and he's at least hopeful that his big brother will not die. So that's good. But Randy, it's a tough look, but you're great comic relief in this film. So thank you.
Dude, this is some good stuff. I think that we should take this into therapy as well, because I think perhaps some of your Randy baggage is influencing your take on this poor young character.
I just want to make it clear that before we started recording, I did not assign you a theme to write why Randy sucks. So.
Unbelievable.
It's a popular theme for me. What can I say?
Now, hold on. I do just want to, as far as I want to go back real quick, because there's something about the mom here that I want to dig into about this eating scene too. I do think of course she loves her children equitably. Yeah. But Doug, you mentioned before, Ralphie isn't getting all bundled up. And Randy is, and I don't know what the age difference is, but it certainly isn't due to physical vulnerability versus a lack thereof. But rather, I'm sure this mom is allowed to continue to baby one of her two children. She can't baby both of them, right? Like, Ralphie has grown. He's not allowing for that. She gets to baby him, which inevitably is going to hold Randy back a bit, right? Who isn't going to let their mom baby them when that's available? So the bib, the poor eating. But then, so it's maybe to a fault that she's not quite as hard on Randy as she should be. But I also love the whimsy that we see in the mother. Later, we'll see it when they're singing Christmas carols and she's belting just as loudly as the children in the car. But first, I love this sequence where she encourages him to eat like a little piggy. You can see how much she adores her little boy, and she just wants him to eat. And if this is what it takes to get him to eat, she's in, and she's not grossed out, and she's not exacerbated. She's like fully charmed.
Oh yeah.
By this moment she gets to share with him. She sees the joy in him. It puts joy in her, and he's eating, so it's a win. I love the mother in this film in a way that I didn't appreciate before because of that whimsy.
Yeah, this made me appreciate my wife more because I'm way more likely to be more towards the dad side of things, which is like, oh, just freaking eat it already. Like, just get out of your own way. Just put the food in your mouth. And my wife is way more likely to come up with the like imaginative solution to get the kid to do the thing. And I'm like, I just want to teach the kid he's being a dumbass and not to do that anymore, so it doesn't keep happening. Just get him to learn something instead of tricking him. But it's one of those things that's part of childhood is that kids will just fixate on something. And you have to somehow break them out of it to get them to, move forward.
And it is, I was just going to say, it's partly for Randy, and yes, it's partly for her own amusement and benefit. But it's also the other thing she's dealing with in this movie, which is just like the tightrope act of trying to manage the temper of her husband and the dad. Like, when do I lean in? When do I lean back? Because he's tired, he's angry, he's ready to get out the tools. I'll make him eat. And she's going to come in with this more peaceful solution, and we'll see her reach her breaking point as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this begins the next kind of interesting sequence of the movie, which is so that, again, the dad was excited because he won something. We didn't know what yet, but it arrives. It's this huge box, this giant crate, and he cracks it open. And at first they're like, there's not even anything in there. It's full of hay, right, packing material, and but he pulls it out, and it is Tim Curry's leg from Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is what I thought of the first time I saw this, because I think I had seen that first before I got around to seeing this movie. That's how late in life I saw it. So yeah, he pulls out the leg lamp. Well, first it's just the leg, and they don't even know what it is, and then he reaches back into the box and pulls out the lampshade. And this is one of the things I was talking about, where Dad is like over the moon about how awesome this is. And of course, the rest of the family, well, Mom thinks it's the most horrifying thing she's ever seen. And for 1939, this is a pretty racy piece of furniture.
Mm-hmm. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Would you look at that? Would you look at that?
What is it?
Well, it's a leg.
But what is it?
Yeah, well, it's a leg, you know, like in a statue.
Statue?
Yeah, statue.
Yeah, statue.
Ralphie?
My mother was trying to insinuate herself between us and the statue.
Holy smoke, would you? Do you know what this is? This is a lamp.
It was indeed a
Isn't
lamp.
that great? What a great lamp.
No.
Here, hold it. Hold it, here, come on.
The old man's eyes boggled,
Oh, wow.
overcome by art.
I know just the place for it. Right in the middle of our front room window.
Ah.
It's a soft glow sex. Is that?
I do believe I have that line written down here. The soft glow of electric sex in the window.
Soft glow of electric sex. Yes, I have that written down as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty racy for the time. Ralphie immediately starts to grope the lamp. Ralphie immediately is trying. There's just a little bit of underbum, right? Like it's not the leg doesn't go up all the way to the hip, but it does come to the undercusp of the bum. And Ralphie goes right for it. He has to get slapped away by his mom. Pretty classic.
And Dad's so excited, right? He's got to go put it in the window. There's this whole thing where there's the outlet with a million plugs in it, and he's trying to get it to light up, and he eventually does. And he goes outside to look at it from the street, and neighbors start coming by, and he's just like so proud of this thing because he won it, and so I don't know if
it's a major award.
It's a major award, says the guy outside.
Yeah. He says it's indescribably beautiful. We'll ask you later on. We'll do your, what's your favorite shot? What prop can you have from this movie? I'm guessing somebody's taking the lamp. Although you can buy this. Like, there's definitely somewhere you can go online and buy yourself a leg lamp to put in your house if you want it.
I'm sure in all kinds of sizes. Christmas tree ornament size, life size. A mini version.
Yep.
And the iconography is so strong in this movie. That is why this film does have no shortage of haters. But I hope we'll continue to uncover the value of this film apart from the trappings.
Yeah. And I will say also a couple of icons come out of this because I've never, ever executed a move. And I've executed many a move in my time where I didn't look at least one box and say out loud, Fragile, must be Italian.
Absolutely.
That quote is undeniable. I think there are folks who will say that who have never seen this movie, who have no idea what it's from, but that quote is somewhere in their lexicon.
Yep. So we have this quick moment of Ralphie and Randy listening to their favorite radio show, which is Little Orphan Annie, brought to you by Ovaltine. Again, that'll come up later. And we get some shots of the kids fleeing Scott Farkas in a fast motion. They'll do this a bunch where they're just running up or down that stretch of sidewalk. And so we go to school, and Ralphie turns in his theme in this bright red folder or whatever it's in, and he has another flight of fancy, and he's imagining that his essay is so good as being read by his teacher, who is now in Victorian garb, that she's overcome with the vapors, and he will be forever excused from doing schoolwork ever again because of what poetry he's put into this thing.
down the drain. For sake that you don't. Period. F. Oh, I wish they would have to read one more. F. Ralphie. Waiting for all my life. Listen to this sentence. A Red Ryder BB gun, the compass in the stalk, and this thing which tells time. Poetry. Sheer poetry. Ralph. An A+, my Ralph. Oh, have you made me Ralph?
He gets an A++++. There's a round of applause. He's carried on shoulders. Like, this is, this truly is like a perfect kid fantasy.
Yeah, well, and he's rescuing her from the awful banality of the themes that came before. As she reads one terrible theme after another, she's rescued by Ralphie's fantastic poetry.
We'll see what she really thinks of it in a little while.
Unbelievable.
Right. So we snap back to reality. There goes Ralph, and he goes to sit down. Sorry I couldn't resist that rhyme.
The Eminem, thank you very much for doing that.
Yep. So we get more fast motion running to and from school, and we go to this sequence of them buying a tree, and Dad haggling over the Christmas tree to get a $2 discount, but $2 in 1939 actually is meaningful.
Yeah.
And they're on their way. So after all this wheeling and dealing that Dad loves, they're on their way home, and the tire has a blowout. And so Dad's excited. This is one of these, Dad loves changing tires, right? He wishes he was in the Indy 500. This takes place in Indiana, by the way. We should mention that. And so he's excited. Time me. He thinks he can do this in 4 minutes. And he goes outside and he starts working on the tire. And Mom says, "Hey, Ralph, why don't you go help Dad?" He's okay. So he goes out to help his dad. And unfortunately, he's got the hubcap full of the lug nuts, and he accidentally sends them flying and says, "Oh, fudge." But that's not actually what he said.
It was the first time that it had been suggested that I go help my father with anything.
What are you doing here?
Mom said I should help.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, sit down here. Squat down. Yeah, that's it. Here, I'll hold this here. No, not that way, not that way. Go on, come on, Rat Trap. Pull it like this, eh?
How?
Oh, like this. Here, I want to put the nuts in it.
Okay.
There we go. There's 4 of them. And we got it. Right there. There it is. I gotta get that dirty mud. Blink, bang, bang. There we go. And...
Oh, for one brief moment, I saw all the bolts silhouetted against the lights of the traffic, and then they were gone.
Oh, fudge.
Only I didn't say fudge. I said the word, the big one, the queen mother of dirty words, the F-dash word.
What did you say? That's what I thought you said. In the car.
It's my favorite bit of narration, I think, but I didn't say fudge. It's really, really wonderfully delivered in the narration. It's not Ralphie's fault. The dad comes up and he bonks the pan. It was an accident. But Ralphie probably would have got it worse if he had simply caused the losing of the lug nuts and didn't distract his dad with the curse. Probably the curse helps us limit him from the rage that would have come from having to gather all those nuts.
Yeah, and I'm also, not to jump ahead too much, but the fallout of this swear is fascinating to me. Because Ralphie knows, Dad knows, Mom knows he learned these words from Dad. But she feels like she has to go through this whole game of finding an outside source to blame, because we cannot broach this topic with Dad. I don't know how you both felt about that, but I think it actually comes back as a major story beat later on.
Well, it's interesting you said that, because one of the things I was thinking about when I watched it again was Dad, who's, plenty quick on the trigger in terms of punishing kids and being, prickly and everything. He doesn't punish Ralphie in that moment when he says the swear word. He gets in the car and he tells Mom, hey, you know what your son just said. But he isn't the one who lays down the law. It's Mom. And I think that's probably because Dad knows. He's like, well, I know he learned it from me. I don't have a leg lamp to stand on here. So they go home, and the punishment is the classic old timey punishment, which I would never inflict on a kid, is soap in the mouth. But she's not washing his mouth out with soap either. He just has to sit there with a bar of soap in his mouth until Mom says it's time to take it out.
This happened to a friend of mine. I'll never forget. Bobby Taylor had to wash his mouth out with soap because he was caught cursing by his mom. This was a big deal for us in childhood. This was a big deal that somebody was actually caught. This was a very real consequence that I was afraid of for a long time. Before I ever saw this movie, I then saw this movie. I was like, yeah, well, that's what happens when you get caught swearing. You get to just ask Bobby Taylor.
My mom definitely threatened to do it, but I think because it's a trope, right? Like, I'll wash your mouth out.
Yeah.
So she never actually did it,
Yeah. There's also like a whole witch hunt element to this. Because, like, not only do you have to wash your mouth out, but you've got to name names. Like, we've got to get something from this interaction. And poor Schwartz gets thrown under the bus.
Yeah, I saw Goody Schwartz with the devil, yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, I think Schwartz stepping out of the house earlier in the film and saying smart ass, with so much confidence, is one of my first, swears that I heard from a child on film. He probably says it the most at school.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, he probably isn't undue some of this blame, but I do love the torture interrogation nature of this moment where she pulls the soap from the mouth to get the answer she needs and then satisfied. She's like, yeah, well, here, back in the mouth. Shoves the bar back in.
I love the sommelier type narration about the different types of soap. He's a connoisseur now from tasting different soaps. But then the other thing that's really funny is, normally when a person is on the phone, right, she calls Schwartz's mom to tell her about this. Usually you can barely make out what the other person is saying on the other end of the phone, or you don't hear anything, right? It's silent. Or it's a full-fledged split screen or whatever, and you see the other person. They go for something in between here where you can sometimes make out what this lady is saying, and it's in the most cartoon, my son said what? It's that kind of voice.
Oh yeah, It's South Park.
Yeah, it's South Park. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't write down everything that I could hear from the other end of the phone, but it's very funny.
Well, first she accuses it of being the father. Well, do you know where he heard it? His father is the first answer she gives.
Yeah. And then you hear poor Schwartz, getting whacked or something. Like it's some punishment that's pretty horrible for a crime he didn't commit. And you see the look on Ralphie's face too. He's just like, I caused that to happen. This poor kid's getting a beating based on a lie.
Yeah, but he doesn't feel bad about necessarily. He's aware of it, but he's still concerned about himself. He's still thinking about how unjust this punishment was for him.
Well, that leads right into what happens next, which is he's lying in bed and he's fearing he's going to go soap blind or whatever. And then he has another flight of fancy, which is he's coming home from somewhere and he's gone blind from soap poisoning. And of course his family is, we're so sorry. Oh, why did we ever? What kid hasn't had that post-punishment fantasy of his parents wailing in regret over what they've done?
He's carrying a cane.
What is it, Ralph? What happened?
Why, he's blind.
Blind? Oh, my God.
Ralph, is it something we did?
What brought you to this lowly stage?
Ralph, please tell us, no matter how it hurts. What did we do?
No, I can't.
Oh, please, Ralph, I must know what we did. What brought you to this?
Please.
Please. Please?
It was?
Yes. Yes.
Soap poisoning.
How can we do it?
Well, I'll manage to get get along. Somehow.
I'll never forgive myself.
Thanks, Mom.
I told you not to use life, boy. Oh, I feel
Yeah, the punishment has resulted in some, great harm or ill. So yeah, I think that he's not fearing the soap blindness as much as he's hoping for the soap blindness. He's like, someday they're going to go too far and then they'll be sorry. Then they'll all be sorry, I think is what he says. I love these flights of fancy. I love the way they're produced because the film itself already has like this film of memory over it. The whole thing feels like a little bit foggy, like we're looking back through somebody's mind. So I love the way they soften the edges just that much further every time we're in one of these imaginative sequences to take us deeper into the unreality.
The visual language of the film changes. There's this very watery wipe, and then during the fantasy sequence, like kind of there's this oval of clarity in the middle of the frame, but then everything is real fuzzy around the edges to let you know.
And those exclamations from the old man, "Oh no!" Like just the groans of eternal pain and sorrow.
The groans of Fortunato from the back of the catacombs.
Read my mind.
This one is very melodramatic, even compared to most of them. Yeah, with the wailing and moaning. So we go back, and then we've got fast running back to school. And this is a short little sequence where Ralph brings his teacher. Everyone's giving their teacher like an apple or a little trinket for Christmas. Ralphie brings an entire fruit basket and then just stands there just staring at her. It's like, until like finally the teacher's like, you can sit down now. I love how long they let that go on.
Well, the actor's brilliant. Ralphie's unreal in that moment. And I love that he's like, he thinks that they're both in on it. Like, this is a bribe. You know what this is. I know what this is. You know what this is. He's literally winking and like pointing at her. And she's completely unaware. Once again, there's something, a totally different reality happening for Ralphie than is actually happening for the people he's interacting with.
Do you know how hard it is to get a pineapple this time of year?
In Indiana in the 30s? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. So he goes home, he checks the mail, and he gets his secret decoder pin, and it's time to use it. And this is great. Like he has to go to the one place in the house where he can get some privacy, which is the bathroom. So he goes into the bathroom. After listening to the radio broadcast, he writes down the secret message and he's working feverishly to decode it while like Randy is trying to beat down the door because he's actually has to, go to the bathroom. And Ralph doesn't care. He's too like into this to stop now. And he finally decodes the message and it is a disappointment.
90 seconds later, I'm in the only room in the house where a boy of 9 could sit in privacy and decode. Aha, B. I went to the next. E. The first word is B. S. It was coming easier now. U. 25. That's R.
Ralphie, I gotta go. I'll be right there, Ma. Gee whiz.
T. Oh, be sure to. Be sure to what? What was little orphan Annie trying to say? Be sure to what?
Randy, you've got to go. Will you please come out?
All right, Ma. I'll be right out.
I was getting closer now. The tension was terrible. What was it? The fate of the planet may hang in the balance.
No, Randy's gotta go. I'll be right out, for crying out loud.
Gee, almost there. My fingers flew. My mind was a steel trap. Every pore vibrated. It was almost clear. Yes, 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 yes.
Be sure to drink your ovaltine. Ovaltine? A crummy commercial? Son of a bitch.
I love this because Ovaltine is the only chocolate milk my daughter drinks. We made a choice really early on that if she was going to have chocolate milk, it was going to be Ovaltine. It's like the lowest added sugar of your typical chocolate milk option. It's got some fortification in there and vitamins. So Ovaltine is such a real part of my everyday life as a part of my own childhood. So this iconography is like super potent for me. And I love the way in which this film doesn't really, it's nostalgic, but it's not looking at childhood with rose-colored lenses. If anything, it's sort of the opposite. It's revealing the ways in which childhood is full of these rhythms and traditions, and also excitement and disappointments and tragedies and challenges. And I love this little bit of this moment of childhood innocence being ripped away as he realizes it's a dumb commercial.
Son of a bitch.
He thought he might save the world.
He actually says the swear word in that scene. It's the only time you hear him say a real swear word. And I was like, I had forgotten that he said that. I was shocked to hear that word in this movie of I thought this movie was family friendly for everybody, but he dropped the B word in there. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's low key one of the saddest coming of age moments in the movie, right? He's got all these wild fantasies, and now he finally has one viscerally in his hand, the decoder ring, the secret message. And it's a commercial, and he embraces the language of his father. There is something really sad about that, right? The BB gun, I'm sure mom genuinely is afraid about the eyeball, but it's also a big kid toy. It's not a cute little kid toy. It's not the same Christmas she's imagined, right? Ralphie soon is bored of the Christmas parade. Can we get to the store, please? Can we get to the stuff? We've seen this a million times before. The magic is slipping away.
He says he went out to face the world wiser, right? This actually taught him a lesson. And so now we get into another really fun part of this movie, which is, and as adult Ralphie says, right, this is a moment of family legend that will live forever and will be a hotly contested subject of debate. So what happens is there's, swearing from the basement while dad is, working again on the furnace, and there's a crash sound, and dad comes out of the basement to find mom in the living room around the shattered remains of the leg lamp.
What broke?
I don't know what happened. I was watering my plant and I broke your lamp.
Did you touch that? You were always jealous of this lamp.
Jealous of a plastic lamp?
Jealous because I won.
That's ridiculous. Jealous of what? That is the ugliest lamp I have ever seen in my entire life!
Now it was out.
Get the glue.
We're out of glue.
You used up all the glue on purpose.
The old man stood quivering with fury, stammering as he tried to come up with a real crusher. All he got out was,
"Not a finger!"
And this leads to a fight about what happened to it. There's some really funny stuff in here. So, of course, he thinks mom deliberately broke it because he knows that she hates it.
She's jealous.
That's what I wanted to point out. She says she was jealous of the lamp. Not that she hated it or she thought it was ugly. His first go-to is you were jealous of the lamp. That somehow, I guess, he was more attracted to the lamp than her. He didn't buy a second one so he could have two legs.
He instantly walks it back. Yeah. She questions, jealous? He's like, because I won. Yeah, you're jealous that I won this contest. I think he immediately understands that was not the correct thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also, my note here is he goes full Gollum mode as he's clutching at this thing, trying to rebuild it. He might as well call it his precious, the way he is on top of this thing.
I love the performance in Old Man when like the narrator is telling us, like with as much dignity as he could muster, he scooped up the broken remains, and the actor portrays that really beautifully. Sort of like he does calm himself because he was quite Gollum-like, and he sort of composes himself and just like stacks the pieces that he can and stands up slowly to leave the room. There is a wonderful bit in the performance, and I wonder if it's a choice from the actor or from the director, but as Mother is leaving the kitchen with her watering can, there is a look on her face of preemptive satisfaction. Like, she has resigned to do something, and this is the moment that she's going to do it.
Yeah, there's another funny bit here because he then sets to like trying before he admits defeat and throws it away. Actually, he doesn't throw it away. Ralphie says he buried it in the yard.
Yeah, he
proper
buried
burial.
it. Yeah.
But before that, he's trying to glue it back together ever so carefully and fails. And he says this. He says, "You used up all the glue on purpose."
Yes.
Part of her evil scheme to like, as if he couldn't have even like bought more glue if he wanted. Like that, the level of like paranoia about that is really funny.
Yeah, he's unraveling. And she's barely holding it together in the background.
She's
in the
having a great
foreground.
laugh.
Yeah, she's not scared of him in this moment. That's for sure. She's going to try to keep it composed whenever he's looking, but she finds this whole thing pretty humorous.
Yeah. All right, so we have another scene of the kids walking and talking. There's we think it's Scott Farkas about to attack, but it's his toady Dill, who just kind of wants to talk, but they all run, like except for Flick, who's left talking to him and then is tortured. And the themes are handed back at school. And Ralph did not get an A++++. He gets a C+, which leads to a fantasy of his teacher as the Wicked Witch, and for some reason his mom as Harley Quinn. Just taunting him about this. And of course, the note on the theme says, "You'll shoot your eye out."
Somehow my mother must have gotten to her, he says.
Yeah. Right.
His plan was to convince his teacher that this was such a wonderful thing and then take his proud work back home to his mother. But somehow she got ahead of him. Somehow his mother got to the teacher first, is his childhood belief.
Yep.
And I mean, listen, you try your best to be fair as a teacher, but you will hear those dreaded words. You gave me a C+. You gave me a blank. There is that. It feels personal. I remember being a student. Sometimes that piece of writing you felt most inspired by as you were writing it, it just doesn't have the tightness that you expected, and it does hurt. Like, I've been there. I try to, offer my critiques with praise as well, but it's never perfect.
When the kid says "you gave me," do you say no, "you earned"?
I don't think I've ever done like the most stereotypically obnoxious version of that. It's usually more silent within my own brain.
Yeah.
Unless it's become like an extended issue and like there's really a lot of pushback, and I'm trying to walk through like, here are the opportunities that like we had, here are the things we've been trying to work on. But
yeah,
I do my best to remember what it's like to be a kid. And I think watching movies like this helps me get it right more often than I get it wrong. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I was going to say, we should mention, if our listeners don't know, Randy, you're a teacher and that's your day job.
Yeah. Although I will say I'm fully aware that I sound like a Peanuts parent 99% of the time to my students.
It's
nice.
I'm glad you mentioned there is a very Peanuts quality to this, even though we do have adults in the picture. You could imagine a version of this movie where they shoot all the adults from like the neck down and stuff, where you only hear like you could do that.
Yeah.
It's very much from Ralph's point of view.
I love the implication that he gets the C+, not because the writing was poor, but because she doesn't approve of the present. She writes the only critique she left is, "You'll shoot your eye out."
Yeah.
It's a terrible gift. C+.
Yeah, her complaints are with the margins. Like, how perfectly did you stay within those margins? Not the style of that opening sentence or anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, this day is going to go from bad to worse for Ralphie, because he's on his way home, and yet again, he is menaced by Scott Farkas. And this time, Ralphie's like crying, and he starts getting made fun of for crying. And at this point, he hulks out. He
Yes.
pounces on Scott Farkas and just starts pounding on him. And we don't hear it clearly, but we're told he is also letting forth a tapestry of profanity like his father would.
You Thornton over them nipple bang gunk stinking Kris.
Ralphie, did you hear what he said?
Holy smokes!
I have since heard of people under extreme duress speaking in strange tongues. I became conscious that a steady torrent of obscenities and swearing of all kinds was pouring out of me as I screamed.
Ralphie! Come on. We're going home. Come on.
And eventually Randy runs and gets his mom, who is barely able to pull Ralph off of Scott, and then he just bursts into tears and she takes him home. There's a lot to unpack with this, but like really interesting scene. I'll give you guys the floor because this is pivotal.
There's something so very real about this moment where this kid finally snaps, and what pours out of him isn't something that he's satisfied with. I really like that this isn't some moment of triumph. Like, you see that the other kids are really impressed. Like, Ralphie, oh my gosh. And they're pleased to see the bully taken down. But that is not Ralphie's experience. And it's not just that he's afraid of being in trouble because of the swearing. He's not afraid that he got caught. He's like, it's all emotion. These are such big feelings to go from fear to anger to the point where now you become violent, and like an actual violence explodes out from inside of you is an extremely visceral and often disturbing thing to feel. Like, I know that feeling of like lingering adrenaline inside your body, and like if you're not a violent person by nature, that doesn't leave you feeling good or proud at all. So despite kind of conquering this neighborhood bully and probably relieving himself from ever having to deal with Scott Farkas ever again, this isn't like a moment of triumph for him. I think it's really honest that he's crying in his mother's arms on the other side of this. He kind of reverts into a much more baby-like state, not some newfound manhood as he's bloodied this other child. This was something familiar to me, relatable. Yeah. And I do love the idea that the bully crumples so easily and very quickly. Like, Toadie's going to go run and tell his dad as if he's never wronged. Yeah. He hasn't wronged these kids every single day of their lives. The first time he gets punched back, he's going to go run to his daddy. And Scott Farkas, of course, crumples like a sack of potatoes and starts to cry too, which you expect from every bully. For us as an audience, that is satisfying. But yeah, you're definitely in the moment more with Ralphie and what he's experiencing.
Yeah, and presumably she heard quite a few profanities as well and did not choose to take out the soap on this particular occasion. Yeah, her kid's going through it, right? Like, there's this whole like double standard nature within the movie. Like, you could even argue like the sexualized leg lamp is like a glowing double standard of like how people are meant to behave. She really does not want to spark the old man's ire when he gets home, right? Like, she tells the truth about the fight, but she like serves it up with a spoonful of sugar or two, and essentially uses like a "boys will be boys" line. Miss Shields has been very on top of everyone's behavior. I would get a kick out of it if every student in my class came in with fake teeth. I think that would be fun. I wouldn't be angry. I certainly would not ask them to put those directly into my hands from their salivating mouths. My goodness.
I wish I really tried to forget that part. Oh,
it's rough. It's rough stuff. But like when Flick comes in later with that shiner from Scott Farkas, she's suddenly not very observant in that moment, right? Like, he just walks to his desk. Boys will be boys. This is the world that he's walking into. This is her kid who wants a BB gun. This is this dad that's got to look tough. Like, I feel like she's seeing all this, and I read earlier that maybe she felt a little bit of guilt for selling out Schwartz Colin Schwartz's mom when she knows full well it's the dad, right? So there's like this sense of like ownership, and my kid needs me now. He needs to know it's okay. She had a more humorous version of this when she finally broke that damn lamp. Scene earlier.
I do think she's feeling this, that she's feeling for her son that part of his childhood has now left him. Right. This was a coming of age moment in a little bit of a tragic way.
Yeah, and it's really telling, right? He doesn't really get punished at all in any way for this event. Arguably, the thing he does in the movie most worthy of punishment, right? He's been violent and swearing. Now, granted, he was, at least at the beginning, arguably self-defense against a bully, although he continues to just pound on him, past the point where it's probably necessary. So you could make an argument that maybe some intervention is warranted here, but like, that's not what happens. Like, mom is sensitive to him. Randy hides under the sink. It is sad because he thinks that dad's going to kill Ralphie when he gets home and finds out about this. And that's so far from what happens. So mom doesn't punish him. Mom tells dad. Mom, as you said, throws in some sugar or kind of mildly deflects from it. But dad's sharp enough. That wouldn't have fooled him. I think some level he just, either he approves or he was just like, okay, I'm sure there was a good reason and so there's this enormous relief that happens where it's like, oh, nothing's going to happen to Ralphie. He's not even going to, he doesn't even say it, but but what if Santa saw me do that and I won't get the gun? He doesn't say that either, but somehow this all just fades away as an event.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I like that he notes that things were never quite the same between him and mom after that. Right? He looked at her differently after that. When they share that moment, that knowing look, she assures him with a look, I'm not going to say anything else to your dad. You're good here. And I love this movie does keep us so tight in this life. It's a few weeks in the life of this child, but we really do learn so much about, or we can project so much into the ongoing life, the legend of the leg and what really happened to break it and how this would become a legend in their family. And now things were never quite the same between me and mom in a positive way. Good writing.
Yeah. I would watch that scene 20 years later around a dinner table talking about the leg lamp.
Yeah.
All right, so now we go to the next segment, which is, so Ralphie needs a new plan to try and get the gun. And he's all out of options, so his next plan is, I'm going to ask Santa for it. So we go down to Higbee's department store, and they watch the parade, and Ralphie, as you said, is real anxious to let's get on with it, because the store closes at 9, and I got to make my appointment with Santa. And so they go to get in the line. They find out that the back of the line is actually much farther back than they realized, and they're stuck in line with this weirdo, this little kid in a it's basically the little girl from the beginning of Up. She's got the pilot's thing on, whatever you call that thing, the pilot helmet, and she just stares at them, and it's so weird. She's like, I like the Wizard of Oz, and then says nothing. So I don't know what the deal with this kid is, but they're stuck in line with this kid for the next however long it takes them to get up to Santa.
Yeah. Yeah, just one more little example of the funny little stereotypes that we grew up with. And here you are standing in this insanely long line. You're going to be in closer proximity to some stranger than you would prefer to be. And odds are they're going to be a little bit quirky.
Yeah, and they're waiting for this mall Santa, which this is the greatest mall Santa display I've ever seen. Because normally they're on ground level. You stand in a short line. You walk up so your parents can take the picture. Right. And then you walk away. Here, Santa is on top of a manufactured mountain of ice and presents and trees. This thing is 3 stories tall. And then once you get all the way up to Santa's throne, then when you're done, you get to go on this big slide down to the bottom. That's the line to get to Santa. And eventually they make their way up to the top. And Randy goes first. Actually, no, the weirdo kid goes first.
Yeah, weirdo first.
And the weirdo kid can't think of anything to say, at least that we can see. Just screams and screams and screams, and then is thrown screaming down the chute. And then Randy repeats that exact thing.
Yeah, this whole sequence was giving me Willy Wonka in some interesting ways, something about the way the kids are being disposed of down this chute after their moment with Santa, and it all feels a little horrifying. It's intimidating. They certainly play up how how rude and impatient the elves are. And this was the first time in the movie that I felt truly transported into Ralphie's perspective. Like, I felt that the reality we were seeing was more unreliable in this moment than any other moment that we've experienced so far, right? He's felt like a mostly reliable narrator. We know it's got the lens of childhood that he's looking through, but in this moment they shoot from kind of like a POV as Ralphie gets closer, and things are a little dizzying as Santa's kind of right in his face, and it's not as charming and wonderful as you might hope for a child. It's actually quite scary and a bit horrifying and all too much. So yeah, something about that it just quickly transported me to the way I feel watching Willy Wonka sometimes, that OG film.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you pointed that out with the camera. Like, there's a little bit of like Sam Raimi Evil Dead kind of to this, where it's like things are queasy and kind of goofy. And I don't know if they use like a fisheye lens or something that's ever so slight, because the perspective on the other people is distorted as this is happening, because it's Ralphie's turn and the same thing happens. He freezes up. Right, he can't think of anything to say. In his head, he's like, come on, dummy, just say you want a gun. That's all you have to do, and he can't.
Yeah,
and he blurts out something. He says,
football.
He says, "How about a nice football?" And he says, "Okay."
Yeah,
and then he's like, "Oh no, I did it again. I said the wrong. I should, just like I did with Mom. I said Tinker Toys instead of sticking with it." And it's like, "All right, kid, you got to go. It's 9:00 here. Santa's clocking out for the night. It's Christmas Eve." And they throw Ralphie down the chute, and he manages to like cling on for dear life, look back at Santa, and he says, "No, wait, I want the Red Ryder BB gun with the blah, 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 blah." He says the entire stream of the gun's specs, and Santa just goes, "Shoot your eye out," and then puts a boot to his face to shove him down the slide. One of the most iconic bits of the movie.
Come on up there. Ho, ho, ho. What's your name, little boy?
Hey, kid. Hurry up. The store's closing.
Come on. Listen, little boy, we've got a lot of people waiting here, so get going.
What do you want for Christmas, little boy?
My mind had gone blank. Frantically, I tried to remember what it was I wanted. I was blowing it.
Come on, kid.
How about a nice football?
Football? What's a football? Without conscious will, my voice squeaked out, "Football."
Okay, get him out of here.
A football? Oh, no.
Okay,
what was I doing? Wake up, stupid. Wake up. No.
No, I want an official Red Ryder carbonation 200 regimental rifle.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh. Yeah. Yes, this is absolutely one of those most iconic moments of the movie. Like I said, there's probably folks who are so familiar with these images without ever having seen the whole film itself or being able to tell you where it falls within the larger narrative. But yeah, he uses like the rubber sole of his shoe to stop himself on the slide as quickly as he can. But again, that shoe to the face is part of what I feel is like the unreliable narrator. Like, were these elves really that impatient and openly rude to the kids? Was their tone that unkind? Did the Santa Claus really put his foot on Ralphie's face and push him down? Well, we may never know.
Yeah. I mean, he certainly does not have the holiday spirit. I'm willing to believe that much. But yeah, it breaks the illusion, in this coming of age tale. Is it up against how he feels about the concept of Santa Claus?
Well, a lot of this movie is about that, right? The disillusionment of growing up. Again, be sure to drink your Ovaltine, right? It's the same kind of thing where it's like, oh, the thing I thought was so magical and exciting turned out to be meh. And so here it's literally Santa's boot in your face, as he tells you you're not getting what you want for Christmas, kicks him down the slide. So they go home. And we get this scene, like we didn't mention it earlier, but the tree he bought, Mom had reservations about it being too big for the house, which it absolutely is.
Yeah.
And I just thought this was kind of funny. Just the idea of like, who waits till like nighttime on the 24th to decorate the tree. Like most people will probably get an earlier start than that so you can, enjoy it for the holiday season. But anyway, so they cause another blackout. They short out the tree, but Dad buys fuses by the gross, just like with tires. He loves changing fuses. Yeah. So it's fixed up. And after adjusting the crooked star at the top, it's perfect, even though, it's a mess. This tree is it's hard to mess up decorating a Christmas tree. I think it's not that complicated a task, but this is pretty sloppy.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
I will say that they're fortunate it lasted at least one night without burning the house down.
Considering how overloaded that fuse was.
If the leg lamp was still there, plugged into it, absolutely. That's their house would have been gone.
Yeah,
Mom saved the day, man.
Yep.
I will say, I'm glad you noted the.
Wait a minute. Did they not put it up yet because of the leg lamp? Like that had to maintain prominence?
Oh, maybe. I was about to say.
That's a first time thought. Carry on.
No. I'm glad you did, because I was going to revisit the idea of decorating, like, why on the 24th. And I was just going to say that I had made in my notes, only in films, or like only in holiday adjacent media, do you see the family decorating the tree the night before Christmas. I don't believe it happens in real life ever. To your point, Doug, like, you want to enjoy the decorations for a bit before the holiday. But many a book and or movie would have you believe that it's the most common tradition in the world for a family to gather around the tree on Christmas Eve and lay upon the ornaments. But I think it's really only in media.
Also, like my kids were clamoring for me to put up the Halloween decorations before the end of September.
Yeah.
Kids are going to be like, come on, let's do this. This is fun. Putting the lights on the tree. Like they would not have sat for, waiting this long. But it's the next morning. It is Christmas morning, and Ralphie wakes up to the perfect blanket of snow out the window, and he runs downstairs to see the bounty. And Randy's happy. He's excited, but Ralphie, you can tell, is kind of nosing around looking. He doesn't see a box anywhere that could house a Red Ryder BB gun. But his parents come down, and it's time for, unwrapping of presents, which happens quickly through a montage of them doing this stuff. And, we see the kids briefly, they're looking, they both got socks from somebody. They throw over their shoulders like, the worst present. But it isn't actually the worst present. Ralphie's about to get the worst present, which is from Aunt Clara, who made him this monstrosity, this pink, horrific thing, this abomination that his mom forces him to go and put on. And one of the most iconic images of the movie, Ralphie has to come downstairs wearing this giant pink bunny onesie.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Ralphie, we're waiting.
Oh, come on, Mom.
Right now.
Immediately, my feet began to sweat as those two fluffy little bunnies with the blue button eyes stared sappily up at me.
Come down here so I can see you better.
I just hoped that Flick would never spot him, as the word of this humiliation could easily make life at Warren G. Harding School a veritable hell.
Oh, isn't that cute? That is the most precious thing I've ever seen in my life.
He looks like a deranged Easter bunny.
He does not.
He does, too. He looks like a pink nightmare. Are you happy wearing that? Do you want to take it off? Tell the kid to take it off.
All right, you'll only wear it when Aunt Clara visits. Go on and take it off.
Take it off!
Something brilliant this captures about family dynamics, I thought, was, and we see it at other moments too. We talk about the swearing, how the father cares, the mother doesn't. There's things that will get your dad all worked up and frustrated. There's certain things you just don't broach with dad. There's certain hairline triggers you don't want to trip. And same thing for mom, because here is not a place where dad can see what's happening. Mm-hmm. He knows this is horrifying for a boy of this age. He knows he doesn't want to put this thing on ever. He doesn't want to be seen wearing it, but he doesn't step in. He doesn't try and assert his authority as sort of the head of the household and say, no, honey, he's not. He slow plays it.
Yeah.
Because this is clearly something that is one of his wife's things. Your aunt got you this thing. I assume it's her sister or it's her aunt. And you're going to put it on. and Dad is not going to have your back. He like very cautiously and casually does his best to support Ralphie and bring this thing to a positive conclusion for Ralphie, but it's not assertive in any way, which really, like I said, reveals something about family dynamics.
I was going to ask you, have either of you received a gift of this order that was like that bad that you were like, oh God, what do I do with this?
Yes. Randy, do you want to go first? I've been doing a lot of talking.
Yeah, I'd love to hear yours.
I have, I think, been trying to make up for this for the rest of my life by being as openly, visually grateful and enthused about every present I've ever received because of one moment where I was so honest as a small child. It was Christmas on Acorn Ave in Greenwood and Wakefield, so I must have been could not have been older than 4. My family was a Dallas Cowboys family. It's like the early 90s. The Patriots are not good. And so our NFC team was the Cowboys. That's who we rooted for. And on Christmas morning, my brother Kyle opened up a present, and it was an awesome Cowboys uniform to play dress up in with a plastic helmet and everything.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable. And I had my equivalent package from the same aunt and uncle. And I opened it up with so much enthusiasm waiting for my Dallas Cowboys uniform. But I was given the 49ers, the Cowboys' rival, because my aunt's husband, no longer. My aunt's husband at the time was a Niners fan. And they thought it was cute and fun to get us both one or the other, not understanding the very real feelings that we had as football fans around one or the other. And I wept right there in that moment. I tried to pretend like it wasn't a big deal, but I took one look at my mom and dad who knew what I was thinking, and I knew that they knew, and I broke, and I wept.
Yeah.
And there was no making that guy feel better about the horrible gift that he had bestowed upon this small child after that, unfortunately.
I did get in trouble once on a Christmas morning for being ungrateful about a present. It may have been socks or something like that. However, every year we would go to a Christmas party, like, in the weeks leading up to the actual Christmas holiday. It was with all of my mom's cousins. And, now I'm an adult who has a lot of cousins I don't get to see very often. So I can look back and see how special this was to her every year to hang out with all of her cousins, all the kids. And like the kids, like we all barely knew each other whatsoever. So it was like this really awkward hang. There were like maybe like 18 kids with like that go to different schools. We don't hang out together. We don't know each other. Everyone's got like this list of someone they have to buy a present for. So I'm going to guess I was probably like 11. No one knows me that well. Whoever grabbed my name that year somehow lost track of my age. So I was maybe like 11. But when I unwrapped my present at this particular party, it was a Mr. Potato Head.
Oh.
And I remember like at least being mature enough that I was like, well, this kind of sucks, but whatever. Like, this is one little party. This is for my mom. I let it go. I went home with my Mr. Potato Head. I don't recall what we did with it, but I did feel the pang of being misaged, much like Ralphie.
Misaged.
I got one. My go-to on this was a present I received for my bar mitzvah, which for you goyim out there, that's age 13.
Yes.
I received, this had to have been a regift from like one of these people my mom felt like obligated to invite. I'm pretty sure, yeah, because this was from an adult. Like, it wasn't from like one of my friends or anything that I invited. This person gave me a Snoopy hairdryer. Something that like,
wow,
I do not need this. Granted, I had more hair then than I do now, but
it's especially still, ironic here to tell the story.
As a 13-year-old boy, did not need a hairdryer, let alone one with the Peanuts theme. Like, the worst part was that after this is over, you got to write thank you notes to everybody, and I had to write a thank you note for this stupid hairdryer. So that's mine. So Ralphie is thankfully let out. He's at home anyway. No one's gonna see. But mom says just wear it the next time you see her. But you can put it away. Just go change. So he changes, and they're having this post-mortem with his parents on the couch, and dad's kind of like, well, did you get everything you wanted? And he's like, well, yeah, mostly, almost. And dad knowingly kind of nudges him in the direction of a present that's been lingering behind a desk that wasn't under the tree. It was somewhere else where Ralphie wouldn't have noticed it. And Ralphie goes and he picks it up, and you can tell he already knows what it is because it's big. It's in this long box. It's in this shiny, red glittering wrapping paper. And it is the Red Ryder BB gun.
Oh, it was beautiful. I could hardly wait to try it out.
Did you not load it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's right.
Careful. They run all over. Close her up. Close it up.
Can I try it out, Ma? Can I?
Okay, but outside. Oh, I still say those things are dangerous. No, put on your galoshes and your coat. It's cold out.
I had one when I was 8 years old.
What if you hurt some Ralphie, your coat! Don't shoot any animals or birds.
Except the Bumpus' dogs.
Oh, gosh. Be careful, Ralphie.
And Dad, like, the best part about it is not just that Ralphie got what he wanted, but it's the look on Dad's face. Like, he's so tickled by, like, the joy that this is bringing his son. Because he's been so grumpy most of the movie. But, like, this is him being genuinely, like, happy for his son. And as you said before, right, the reason he gave was he had one as a kid.
Yeah, it's really a beautiful moment. Like, you can see it in Ralphie before he even gets off the couch. He's looking at his dad, and you can tell it's like this is a rare moment of affection from his father. Ralphie's already beginning to process. He kind of knows he's not quite letting himself believe yet. He's very hesitant. He slowly gets off that couch. He doesn't go running for the last present by any means. He doesn't see it and know what it must be and go running for it. He's cautious. He almost won't let himself jump to that conclusion until he's actually removed the paper and seen the words. And it's really beautiful from the beginning of the moment right through the father continually sort of chuckling at the joy on his son's face.
Yeah.
It brought me back to the moment in the mall when he knowingly says about Santa, well, he knows, he always knows. I feel like in that moment, he has purchased the Red Ryder BB gun while they were at the mall and the kids were waiting for Santa. Like he knows his son is getting what he wants for Christmas. He knows his son's been a good boy and is getting this gun.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, of course, he wants to go load it, take it outside, give it a try. And so two things are happening simultaneously. One is Ralphie going outside to try out his brand new toy. The other, Dad, is inside. We're told he is a turkey junkie. And so Mom is trying to ward him off of, like, don't touch this turkey. It's not even done cooking yet. You're going to get salmonella. Leave it alone. But Dad is kind of like hovering over it anyway. And then Ralphie does the unthinkable, or at least what he thinks is unthinkable. He shoots his eye out on the very first shot. But thankfully, this movie is not going somewhere that dark. He doesn't actually shoot his eye out. He just shoots his glasses off. And unfortunately, he then steps on the glasses when they're on the ground as he's looking for them. You hear that sickening crunch that just lets you know, like, oh, no. And we're exactly back where we've been before, which is, I've done something bad. Am I going to lie about it? Like the fear of being punished for breaking his glasses or accidentally causing harm with the gun. Like it's the trouble he's going to get in because of that is now driving his fear and paranoia.
He plays it brilliantly.
Does he?
I mean, he gets away with it. No,
I guess he. Well, that's the question, right? Because the lie we've said before, he's a terrible liar, and the lie he comes up with is, "Oh, I got hit from above by a falling icicle." Does Mom believe it, or does Mom just let it slide?
Maybe
she wants to believe it.
She wants to believe.
She's
I don't
so
know.
scared
I feel like
of that BB gun.
Maybe, but I feel like this is a mom who, at the first hint that possibly she was right about the danger of that BB gun, she would find any excuse to take it away. So I'm not so sure she's looking for a reason to look the other way necessarily. But I I do like that this ties back to the moment earlier when the teacher's trying to give us the guilt trip. And she's, like, getting away with a thing is going to make you feel worse, probably even than the punishment. And Ralphie's like, yeah, but all of us kids really know that getting away with it is much safer. And so that's the choice he has to make here, to your point, Doug. It's like, am I going to lie and maybe get in trouble for lying, or am I going to tell him what happened and definitely get in trouble for what happened? And kids usually going to go for the lie, unfortunately.
Well, what happens is ultimately this becomes background noise, because when Ralphie came inside after the incident with the glasses and the gun, nobody remembered to close the door behind him, or they left it open in some way, because in comes the 15 Bumpus dogs from next door, and they absolutely wreck the Christmas turkey. And what I love about this is Dad's reaction, which is you expect him to, start swearing, start freaking out. He doesn't freak out in the slightest. Even though he loves that turkey, he just goes, well, put on your clothes. We're going out for dinner.
Yep.
Does he not call them son of a bitch Bumpuses?
He might, sling something in their direction,
He might
but
shake
not really.
his fist. Yeah, he doesn't unload on the family by any means.
Yeah.
No one in the family has to hear about it. This isn't a moment where, like, he's blaming anybody, a la the mom, like she used all the glue on purpose. He's not looking to nail anybody for this, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's looking to roll with the punches. I think he's still riding high off that big dad win, I'm assuming mom took care of almost all the shopping, and then he got to roll in with his big reveal of the BB gun and get all the actual attention and credit.
Yeah.
I don't know why those two parents wake up looking pretty tired. They are sipping that wine. They are ready to unwind, and for some reason I relate to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, they convert to Judaism at this moment, and the way I can tell is that it is a Christian holiday, and they are at a Chinese restaurant. That is
beautiful.
Because I've done that many times. The other one that will, of course, is going to the movies on Christmas Eve is also always good. Never crowded. So, pro tip there. But anyway, so yeah, this one part of the movie hasn't aged particularly well, which is that they have the wait staff at the restaurant trying to sing Christmas carols and struggling through their heavy, stereotypical Chinese accents. Nevertheless, the sentiment is actually very nice, which is that they're just having a good time singing. The family is in great spirits, just having their Chinese meal by themselves in this restaurant. And it's actually really kind of a nice bonding moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously there's the obvious problematic element here, but if we want to shout it out to this restaurant, which may very well involve many family members, how incredibly graceful to attempt to bring a tradition to life for your guests when you absolutely do not have to do that by any stretch of the imagination. It's really a beautiful gesture if you step back from it.
That's really a nice take, Randy, because I think it would be easy in a 2025 lens to look at this and be like, oh, cringy, problematic moments. Oh, dear. I think that's a nice lens to put it through and still find some value in that moment in this film.
They bring out a duck, the fully cooked duck, and then they're laughing or half crying because the mom says it's smiling at me, and so the guy just graciously beheads the duck. It's all fun, it's all like I said, that all of the sentiment is right, even if some of the stereotypes could probably take a hike.
Yeah, I do think they're kind of screaming at the sight of the duck and laughing at the same time, because their whole night is not what it was gonna maybe be. So there's a humor to the horror. I liked that they're all sitting on one side of the table, Last Supper style. We're looking straight at the face of everybody in the family because they're all sitting side by side for some reason on the same side of this long table.
And then we get to the end, right? So we have this quick scene of the parents toasting in the dark, watching the snow by their lit up Christmas tree as the kids fall asleep with their favorite presents. And that's the end of the movie.
Oh, honey, come over here. Look at this.
Oh, is that beautiful? Oh. Merry Christmas.
So before we get to kind of final wrap-up thoughts, whenever I have you guys on the show, we got to do your segments here, these are so much fun. So, I'll start by asking you guys, what's your shot of the movie? Like if you got a single frame from it.
You look like you have one, Kris. I say go for it.
No, I wanted to go with something of a sequence. It was the Santa Claus moment for me. So I guess I want the look of that Santa through the eyes of Ralphie in that moment. It was the trippiest frame of the film, and therefore stuck out most in my mind.
So I'm also looking at that Santa moment. Part of me wants to force myself in a different direction. But like we talked earlier about all these great just sort of like mugs we get from Ralphie throughout the movie. But his best one is when he looks up like just after finally blurting out the whole BB gun thing to Santa. He like falls into that practiced look, and I feel like it's like the one that's like on the DVD cover, like it's the shot that we see the most often, and it's iconic for a reason. It captures the whole vibe of the movie. There's like this innocence, but also this greed, the intense avarice with which they'll be unwrapping the presents the next day. Fun fact: this whole movie would make a pretty good training tool for like SAT like vocab prep. There you go. They hit all the biggies, but yeah.
I do think that the deception of that innocence is there present in that look in his face. That's a great pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. There's a lot of great choices here. For me, I think it's the letter F as he says it in Oh Fudge. You freeze frame right there because when you see it, you know. You'll know exactly what he's saying in real life and in the movie. So that always struck me, like, because when he says it, they do this like dolly zoom on his face as it happens. It's really funny. So I'll go with that.
It was the F -- word.
Yeah, I feel like that's exactly as iconic as like the unfurling lip of Squints' grandfather in the flashback saying forever. Yeah, it's very similar.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so then I'll ask you guys if you could have one prop from the movie, what would you take home?
Randy, you first, buddy.
All right, you might have to call me out on this one to tell me whether or not you think it counts if I can get away with it.
Okay.
But I want the slide from the top of the Santa area down into the snow.
Are you getting the whole Santa setup then? Right, it's the slide.
You need some way up to the slide.
I literally just want the slide itself because I'm envisioning this as a feature of my prop cave over on Media Lit.
Okay, so you want just the slide, and you're going to mount it in a way that allows you to access it like the pole in the Bat Cave, right? The fire pole?
Exactly what I'm going for. What do you think?
I'll allow it.
Love to hear it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a piece of the set, and I think that counts. Love that. I think I'm also playing a little bit outside the lines here.
Good.
Because I am resisting the icons. I think I was, of course, considering the BB gun itself with the compass in the body. I think that I also considered the leg lamp. But if I may, I just want the teacher's drawer full of confiscated stuff.
Yeah.
The camera really lingers on that for a minute. Like, it allows you to really take in every little thing that's in that drawer. And I think I want that sitting in my prop cave.
Nice.
Such a perfect pull.
Thank you.
I'm going to go with Ralphie's theme. I'm curious to see what he wrote. Because we actually get, you see glimpses of it. Like, I guess you can freeze frame and probably read a little of it.
Yep.
And he narrates part of it out loud as he's writing it. But I'd love to see this entire thing that got him the C+. Like, what's in there?
And a thing that tells time. Or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, dude, brilliant. I think that's such a great pull. Do you want this thing like in a display case, kind of preserved? You can see the cover, or do you want it like a coffee table book accessible to the visitors to your
Yeah, you want to be able to read it, I think. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
See what's in it.
Love that. We pursuing any kind of a signature from a talent of the film? You're going to try to get Ralphie to sign your...
If I ever ran into Peter Billingsley, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you more than get that in this fantasy exercise after
of course
porting this over from our show. That was a very kind gesture of you.
If anybody knows Peter Billingsley and get me a copy of that theme, sure, why not?
Pete.
He's on Cameo, right? So
Probably.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Nah. All right, so here we are. We're at the end. I mean, when I talk, usually we ask questions about like, well, why does this thing endure? Like, this movie, it's beyond endurance at this point. It's gone. Sometimes things pass from like they're things we're nostalgic for, and they go beyond that into like just tradition. Like this movie is, as you said, like every year, like TNT or TBS or whatever, like airs it 24 hours a day. Like people, like this is now as much a part of Christmas as, The Grinch and It's a Wonderful Life. Like it's reached that pantheon as like one of the top tier Christmas movies. So I'll give you guys the floor. Why do you think it is that this thing is so special?
Like, most simply for me, it's really that when I watch it, I really can't tell you if it was geared towards children or adults.
Yeah.
There are moments of the film that feels like one or the other or both in a really successful way. And that must contribute significantly to the timeless nature, the ability of the next generation to pick it up, or the reason why a parent wants to share it with that next generation.
Yeah. I'm fully with you, Kris. I think we really covered it right up at the top, right? It's the fact that it's both so reverential to Christmas while also being so irreverent about the holiday. It makes it about something more universal. I think it's really powerful. I do think, as much as I was a kid who grew up on the 24 hours, I do think that hurt the film. I do think it has been knocked down a few pegs by the prevalence of something like Elf, that like, if I talk to my teenagers at school, more of them can tell me about Elf than can tell me about A Christmas Story. And Elf has its place. I enjoy Elf. I watch it almost every year. But I check out for the last act. I often will stop watching that film after Buddy goes on his first date. It's just kind of downhill from there for me, apart from, getting to see him back at the North Pole at the very end. But the reason I'm going on and on about Elf instead of the movie we're talking about today is this exercise we did where we went back and just watched it really as a piece of art from start to finish. I think none of us had done that recently. And it showed me what a piece of artwork this really is. And I think it deserves to reclaim its crown.
Yeah, I mean, this is very special. It's doing a lot of things it's got a lot of things working against it. Like I said, it doesn't have a plot. It's very episodic. It's very irreverent towards the subject matter, right? It is in a lot of ways very satirical of the commercialization of Christmas, things around it. It doesn't, although he's focused on getting a Christmas present, it's not very much about the themes of the holiday itself. It's got a little bit of a mean streak in it in certain ways. But none of that there's something very special about a film that can like maintain that edge and still work, and like touch your inner child that way. And I think it is because like it definitely like it speaks to the child in all of us. Like it definitely makes you remember what it feels like to be a kid, to be both hopeful and then have your hopes dashed and still try to not be too cynical. It's got all of these wonderful elements that come together to make this like a really special kind of movie that like no one would make this movie now. Like the structure it has, this is a very difficult thing to pull off. And in fact, they kind of didn't pull it off, right? It wasn't a big hit. It took a long time for people to discover it and realize, kind of unwrap this thing and see, what was in there. So I'm really glad we got together to do this. I felt like over a long enough timeline, there was no way this podcast didn't cover this movie. Guys, if people want to find you and Media Lit, plug away. Tell the good audience out there where they can find you.
All right. So if you are looking for Media Lit, you can search us up at media/lit. We are pretty searchable at this point. Find us on YouTube. Find us on Spotify. You can find all of our links from there. We've got a webpage if you want to interact with us that way. On our show, we treat each piece of media like a great piece of literature, whether it is a piece of generally accepted high literature like the works of Edgar Allan Poe, or whether it is something that most people would not put at like the top of their classiest albums of all time, like the soundtrack to the film Coyote Ugly, one of our most popular episodes. But yeah, check us out. We'd love for you to join us for every episode. but that's probably not practical. So take a look at our library. We have probably covered something that you really love and really cared about and had a great time with it. So please join us for that. Kris, I know you're with me on Media Lit, but what other projects do you have going on?
Aside from Media Lit, I'm also the co-host of Batman by the Numbers on thepopbreak.com. It's a once-a-month podcast where we like to talk all things Dark Knight. We've been doing some Superman coverage this year to line up with the launch of the new DC Universe from James Gunn. Most recently, in the month of November, we will have just dropped our live-action villain ranking. Really, really excited for folks to hear that one. So check out Batman by the Numbers on thepopbreak.com.
Oh, hey, speaking of popbreak.com, I also do some music podcasts over there. And by the time this episode is out, you can catch myself and Kris Ingersoll on an all-new music podcast about the work of Beck Hansen. The show is called Podele or Podele, however you prefer to pronounce it. And we hope you'll join us over there for a deep dive.
Well, those all sound awesome. You should go check all of those out. I'm especially curious now about Podele. That's great. And if you want to listen to us, of course, first of all, if you want to get in touch with us, I should say, you can go to all the social media portals, which are in the show notes. And also now we've got 2 other podcasts going. We've got Playing by Ear,
yes,
which is our music podcast. Every episode we take an album, me, my wife, and my brother-in-law, we break it down track by track, which is a lot of fun. And then by the time this airs, I've partnered up with Josh Koval over at the Still Loading podcast to do a monthly show. That's the one you got to pay for. It's on his Patreon. It's like a few bucks a month to do it. But you go to patreon.com/stillloadingpod to listen to Still Muppeting as we go through the primary movies of Jim Henson. So by the time you're hearing this, our first episode on the Muppet movie is out, the original Muppet movie. We haven't quite figured what we want to do with December. The plan would normally be to do The Great Muppet Caper next, which comes out then, or are we going to do Muppet Christmas Carol and make it seasonal? As of this recording, we're still figuring out how that's going to look, but we're not only covering Muppet movies, we're going to do some adjacent things like episodes of The Muppet Show. We're going to do like The Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal and other things as well. Nice. So go and drop a few bucks to listen to Still Muppeting as well. So, and of course, if you have time and are so inclined, for any podcast you ever listened to and enjoyed, even in the slightest, go give it a review. That does a lot to not only make podcasters happy for the holidays, but it helps spread the word. It helps the algorithm do what algorithms do and lets people find out about the show. Also, very good for that and equally appreciated is word of mouth. If you enjoyed it, tell a friend. If you didn't like it, shh. Keep it to yourself. That'll do it for all the admin stuff. Man, Kris and Randy, always fun having you on the show. And I'm looking forward. I'm going to be teaming up with you guys for at least one episode of Media Lit in the near future that may or may not be out by this time. We'll see.
And Doug, I just wanted to say before I left, I meant to sneak it in earlier for your listeners out there. I was not on this episode, but one of my favorite episodes of Nostalgium Arcanum is from last year when Doug and his panelists reviewed their favorite Christmas songs and Christmas music. It was incredibly insightful and smart, like Doug's music analysis always is. But there was this added layer of fun in which most of the panelists were Jewish and were really like framing why the music worked through that lens. And I think that's part of why it was such a special listen for me. It was like a whole new take and vibe. So check that one out for sure.
Yeah, it was. We had 4 of us on there. It was 2.5 Jews doing that. So it was maybe slightly skewed, but not really. I think we went with pretty mainstay Christmas stuff for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun episode. But go check that one out. All right, guys. So that'll do it for this time. And until next time, that is one more entry in the Nostalgium Arcanum.
Next to me in the blackness lay my oiled blue steel beauty, the greatest Christmas gift I had ever received or would ever receive. Gradually, I drifted off to sleep, pranging ducks on the wing and getting off spectacular hip shots.
Live on stage for 1 week only, the Royal Shakespeare Company's Patrick Stewart in his legendary one-man performance of the most beloved holiday classic of all time, A Christmas Story.
When I was a boy, I wanted a Red Ryder BB gun. But they told me I'd shoot my eye out. Oh, fudge!
It's the show the New York Times calls unorthodox.
My tongue is affixed to this icy pole.
And an error that should have been caught 2 days into the process.
You there! Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. And you!
Theater critic Neil Corbin says, I wish I'd read my ticket more carefully because I really thought this was the Dickens one.
Mother, father, this rabbit suit is an abomination.
Still, it was impressive to see Stewart do all those different voices.
How do the little piggies eat? I can't put my arms down. I'm Darren McGavin.
Now playing at the Pasadena Community College Theater Annex with special guest Tim Curry as the leg lamp.
I'm a lamb.
Patrick Stewart in A Christmas Story.
Make it so. Make it snow.
Tickets are still available.